all these people, they have too much anger. They're going through the world, they're being around, they're just angry, and crazy. But at the same time, there are also these people, they apparently cannot feel anger. Or they cannot access their anger. They're like, I'm never angry. I don't know, I just cannot feel angry, or I cannot express my anger. And one reason why this could be is that there's so much anger that you are just scared of expressing it. There are these layers, and usually we are programmed to not let our anger out, of course. It's labeled as a bad emotion. We should not be angry. We were ignored or even punished when we were angry as kids. So often it can be really the case that somebody has so much anger that it's like a steam pot, and they think, when I let that out, when I allow that to come out, to happen, then I'm gonna lose it. And it's not even that far from the reality that this could happen. I mean, crazy or like intense example is people who kill somebody else. The anger took over them. It took over, they lost it, they completely lost it. The rational mind went into complete fight mode and killed somebody. And subconsciously you know that you have a lot of anger. Even if you suppress it, even if you live without much anger, in situations that would usually create anger, you don't feel it that badly, or you kind of containing it. But you know how much effort that takes to suppress that anger. And it takes also a lot of effort to reach the place where the anger is. It's all happening in layers, and the anger is one layer of these many layers. Usually below the anger is a weak emotion, or what we perceive as being weak or negative, like grief, sadness, powerlessness, vulnerability. All these are usually covered up by anger. Also important to understand that anger in and of itself is a really healthy and important emotion which we need. It shows us our boundaries, like, this is the boundary, stop, you're going too far. But unfortunately, when we were kids, and especially when you grew up in abusive households or with narcissistic abuse, physical abuse, I mean, this is boundary crossing all the time, sometimes every day, until you're 18 and you move out. So this natural reaction of being angry, and this can be subtle examples, like, I have an example from my life. I'm a person who likes warm. I like warm. I don't like cold. I don't like have cold apartment, where I have to put like a hoodie and a blanket. I'm like, oh my God, I'm freezing to death. So for me, that's really uncomfortable. Physically, I don't like it. So back in the day, what happened many times was that we were in the living room or somewhere, and you feel that as a child when something is against you or done on purpose. My mother was like, of course not to me, to my sister, could you open the window? And even sometimes after I said I'm already cold. And this passive aggressive abuse, and people who didn't experience it cannot understand. They're like, yeah, she just wanted to open the window. No, you see it in the eyes, you see it, you feel it, that is done on purpose. And I got angry. I'm like, what the hell? Why am I like opening the window? It's like fucking 15 degrees in here. And he's like, why are you making a big deal? Look at you with your anger issues. Go to your room, or like whatever. And so you get even more angry about being gaslighted. And all this anger. So you create a lot of anger, but it's in and of itself, it's healthy. But of course, later on, or in general, you can't really do something with your anger. Of course, there were physical fights in my home, but this is not a release of anger. This is like an unhealthy expression of anger. When there are physical fights, you throw something, you completely lose it. It's already really intense fight mode. But this is an energy, and anger is one of the most intense energies in our body, in our emotional system, because it's created to keep us safe, to put the boundary and tell something no. So this crazy amount of energy needs to be put down. And this is when so many people dissociate and lose their anger. They put something else on top of it. I have to stay calm, all good. And this is also what happened to me. I was crying from anger in my room. And then what you're going to do? Like, you're in your room crying the whole night, and then what? There's no solution. There's no one coming and saying, I'm sorry, or we're going to kind of fix that. Nothing is happening. So the energy is there, but you have to put it down. So we suppress it and we dissociate from it to that point. And especially when you were punished for your anger, because that's even more unsafe. You were punished for your emotions, and then you even believe it's bad. You start believing this is bad. If they treat me badly when I'm angry, if I get punished, if I get ignored, this is bad. This is the number one priority, is safety, and no connection to your parents or caregivers is not safe at all. Because you know they have to feed you and all that. So you put it down all the time for the rest of your life, and then your anger is gone. But it's not gone. It's suppressed. It's under the surface. And because there's so much of it, it's like this steam pot, and you lift the lid a little bit. No. When you open the lid, when you're in a situation where you feel this anger arising, you feel, okay, this is guy getting in a dangerous area here. You try all you can to put it down. And this takes an incredible amount of energy to keep that anger down. And because of that fear of that anger, because A, you think it's a wrong emotion, and B, you are actually scared of your own anger about what is going to happen when you let it loose. You suppress it so much that you even cannot access it anymore. It's like some other people, they cannot cry. They cannot access their grief. They're like subconsciously thinking, once I start crying, I will never stop crying. When I let this sadness that is like under the surface and kind of comes up, and you feel that usually like sadness like in your throat, and you're like, oh no, I'm like, it's so uncomfortable. But it's especially so uncomfortable because you have to suppress it. So many people cannot cry. It's like, I haven't cried for 40 years. So many people I talk to, they haven't cried. And then I talk to them and I find really sensitive beings. And sometimes then in the conversation they cry, and they're like, so it's just an important aspect to think about if you're wondering why you're not angry, or why you think you cannot be angry, or you feel like you're wondering, well, where's that anger? And if somebody would have told me the emotions that came up in my trauma healing journey, in the ayahuasca ceremonies, on LSD, which throws you in your subconscious, and you find stuff there that you like had no idea even existed anymore, I would probably be too scared to do it. But the good thing is I didn't know what was happening. So I didn't even know when I had my first ayahuasca ceremony in 2019, I didn't even know that I had PTSD, which I just found out 23. So all these little steps bringing us along the way, and just you can know, and your soul knows exactly what you need, that you can access your sadness, your anger, and who knows what's in there. It's like the box of Pandora, you know. But if you are willing and you feel like you want to be free, because all this stuff we are putting down takes all this energy that we actually need to express ourselves, to be our most authentic self, to be creative, to live to our highest potential. All this energy is used to keep all these so-called negative emotions down because we're so afraid of them. So what I just can inspire you is to follow your intuition on that. Like now you're watching this video because you kind of guided by your intuition. That's not random. Every book, every video, every conversation you have, everything maybe in the daily world that kind of triggers you and you feel this sadness. For example, a thing that triggered me sometimes was, of course, seeing other families, but that doesn't trigger me anymore. But back in the day, yes, I've always felt this, you know, and these are usually the moments when we are indulging in our coping mechanisms, or escaping strategies, addictions, without even knowing it. But when you start listen to yourself, because your soul wants to guide you in that direction of, unfortunately, my friend, the pain, because in order to go through it and find the precious in it, which you will find it. You have to stop running away and go towards the pain. There's the saying in Sufism, the only way out is the way in. And you don't know what you're dealing with, you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know, we don't know, I don't know. Before every ayahuasca ceremony, of course I have my intention, but the things that happened, the stuff that I experienced, the emotions that came up, the memories that came back, you have no idea how painful. When you are going back to that time when that anger was created, I don't know what to say. But the reward for doing that, it's just what comes into my mind is this, the peace of God that surpasses all understanding. But this sentence is what is inside the pain. And everything will be worth it. And you will even be grateful. You will be grateful. Even though now you cannot believe it. Somebody would have told me 5 years ago, when I hadn't even had a clue about how deep the trauma was that I experienced, when of course I knew kind of what happened, but not the painful emotions. I was like, yeah, of course. I would not have understood what that even means. But you don't have to understand. You don't have to do anything with your mind. You don't have to understand anything. Just follow your intuition. Go on your journey. You are being guided. You are being guided from inside. It comes from the depth of your heart, the guidance. And it's what this call is. This like, maybe I should try this. Maybe I should go there. Maybe I should... And then this fear comes in, you postpone it and stuff. Even that is all part of your journey. And even the running away is part of the journey. But once you turn around and stop running away, there comes this point when there's no way back anyway. And then you're like, okay, now it doesn't matter. Now it can go. I cannot go back to my old life. No way. There's no way. There's no way. There was no way even 4 years ago. Maybe that's the reason why you or somebody else you know, or whatever the reason is you're watching this video, that you cannot access the anger because there's so much of it. I think that's all what I want to share today. As always, let me know in the comments how you feel, what you experienced in regards of anger, because anger for me, to be completely honest with you, was my biggest thing in life. The anger issues, the anger outbursts I had since I was always. But then when you dig, you find the reason why. And I was digging deep, not just with psychedelics, also journal, talking to people like about my past, hypnotherapy. I was like digging. And there were reasons. Your anger is there for a reason. So let it guide you. Let your fear guide you, the fear of your emotions, because the fear leads you to the pain, and you have to go into the pain. My friend, I'm wishing you all your best on your journey, and let me know what you think, and I'm wishing you a great evening. See you in the next video. Namaste.